What's going on, everyone? RedWolfVion here, and today we are back with another community spotlight. In today's video, we want to shine the spotlight on a awesome individual you have seen playing with me and Eric in the channel. JFrost is here with us today. JFrost, say what's up.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Yeah. It's fun because it's like, I need to make sure I get like the OGs in here, these spotlights first. A lot of people that I definitely want to check out, but random question: do you prefer JFrost? Do you prefer like using the X or like the whole numbers in your name, or just JFrost is good, or Frost?
So either JFrost or Frost. Everyone that knows me, they don't know my first name. They only call me Frost.
Okay, cool.
So,
That's fair. Because I find myself calling you Frost or JFrost. It's legit. Might be depending on whatever day of the week or what we're doing. If we're playing something, recording something, or just being silly. But no, that's really dope. Yay! Are you ready? We're gonna have us some fun. Hopefully, everyone out there, you get to learn a little bit more about JFrost today. So this is the whole purpose of the community spotlights. Again, we're just trying to highlight community members on the channel for various Gundam content. So we're gonna jump into it. So JFrost, I have a question for you. This is like off the wall right here. How long have you been playing like Gundam game?
it's been probably 15, 16 years. The very first one I ever played was Battle Assault on PlayStation 1. That fighting game.
Yes, so good. Gundam Battle Assault was so good.
And then I guess you would say like what got me to GBO would be, I saw I remember like one day I was like, man, I want a Gundam game, and there's no Gundam games on any system. We had that Operation Troy come out, and the only way to play it was you had to get on Xbox, and there was nobody in the lobbies. Like you could get it to play, but nobody was in the lobbies. And so I just started searching. I'm like, PlayStation Gundam games, and Gundam Breaker came up. And I was like, but that's in Japanese, and how do I get that? And I spent like a month trying to figure out like how to get a copy of that game. And then I was like, it was on was it Play Asia? And I was like, yo, I can get this and it'll play on my PS3. So I ordered it. It took like 2 months to get here. And then when it came in, I was like, all right, popped it in, couldn't read anything. So I was like, there's got to be a way to translate all this. And somebody's like, well, there's a translation there's a page that they made. And I printed like every single page. So I had like a folder that had like all the instructions and what all the pieces were and everything like that. And I would like study it, and then I beat that game. They're like, "Oh, 2's coming out," and I was like, "Oh, god dang it! All right, fine, let's do that." So like, it came to like just importing them over, and then somebody was like, "Oh, they have an online like mobile suit game, just getting out of the suit," and I was like, "Cool. How do you get that? Make a Japanese account. I'm already this deep into it. Let's go." So I make the account, and then like I played it for a while, but like I'm glad 2 doesn't do the stamina thing like 1 did. It was horrible, but that kind of led me down to like this, and I'm glad that I did have a Japanese account I played GBO 2 on, but when they released it in NA, I was like, yo, I'm playing on this.
That's awesome. So like that says a lot here, because I was going to answer another question I had for you, because I remember the same thing when Gundam Breaker was announced. So like, dude, I have to play this game. And so I think I still have my original copy of Gundam Breaker. When it first came out, I had ordered it, pre-ordered. I think it was through Play Asia as well. And it's funny, I still have I took it probably about a year or 2 after it came out. I met the voice actor for Amuro and Char, and they actually signed my copy of Gundam Breaker, the original Gundam Breaker, for PlayStation 3. and I still have it. It was really cool because I also met like the Free Gundam Bill fighters. That was a really good year for Gundam games. Even if it was in Japanese only, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Gundam Breaker was awesome. Fun fact, again, I might have mentioned before, but a lot of people don't realize like a lot of my streaming Gundam content was Gundam Breaker. YouTube content was Gundam Breaker, so you having that love for Gundam at Gundam Breaker says a lot, and it's just like, very, very similar aspects. Gundam Breaker was a great game. If you guys haven't played it or checked it in the videos, do so, but we're going to continue here. So, speaking of the similar games we play, do you remember how you came across the little community of what you're part of now? The channel, the Discord. Do you remember how exactly you came across?
Yeah. I was streaming GBO one day, and I remember how I know it was late, and you just happened to raid me, and I was like, I didn't know anybody in any kind of Gundam community or anything like that. Like, I was in a different, I would say a streaming community at the time. I was in a different one, and I just would get on and stream when I get off work, or like, everybody in the house was asleep, and I'm like, okay, I got some time. And you just happened to raid me, and then the next day you were on, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna watch and see what this person is streaming, because I'm like, I don't know who this was that raided me, and you were playing, so I just kind of like, oh, you play this too, cool. And I think also through that, like I met Emblem at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Emblem and Gustav like kind of at the same time, and so then after that, like we played a little, and then you sent me a message on there about your Discord, and I was like, yeah, cool. I have it. I had just started a Discord. I was like, yeah, I have one. I'll join it from there. And I remember it was like what, and the Gundam part of it, there were like maybe 20 of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like me, you, Narek, Sora, Awesome, I think, had just joined, and then Garuda, and we almost played like almost every day if we could.
Mm-hmm.
And then Versus came out. We played that for a while. But I also, I remember because I used a different name when we used to play, because I had the Japanese account, and so everybody was added on the Japanese account. And then when they did the NA, we had I didn't have it linked to my NA, so I had to start all the way over.
Mm.
And everybody said, well, we have our stuff. I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I got to start over. And so I got to do it all over again, which was fine because, we played the game all the time. And then, I think that was about it. Yeah, it's just I was streaming and you just raided me one day, and then when you started posting on YouTube, and be like, hey, y'all want to play? Then it was just like, yeah, it's fine. I need people to play with anyway.
You need to play with like-minded people or chill people sometimes, because sometimes you can have fun, sometimes you can get ready and try hard. Sometimes you just have some laughs. So yeah, but I'm glad that you decided to stick around and check the Discord out, because here we are, many years later, just chilling, shooting to shoot. That's actually really dope. Wow, because that also explains kind of how you also got back into. Well, you already ended GBO too, but at that point we just kind of solidified a foundation for our communities and whatnot. So it's really dope. So my next question for you, before we get into anything specific GBO 2 wise, of course, as a whole, but even before playing Gundam Breaker, was there anything that got you into Gundam itself?
So I had seen, and my answer is probably going to be the same as a lot of other people's. I had seen Gundam before. I'd actually seen Universal Century, like the original Gundam, but at the time when I watched it, I didn't understand it. So I was just like, this is kind of weird. And then, Toonami came out, and Gundam Wing was shown, and I didn't know what it was. I just happened to come home one day and they're fighting, and I'm like, "Yo, giant robots fighting! What's going on?" And so I watched like 4 episodes. Like every day I'd come home, there'd be a different episode now, but I never caught the name of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So then they were like, "Oh yeah, it's Gundam," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." Wait, that show I watched a while back that I didn't understand, and so I watched all the Wing. Love Wing. Wing it's in my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will say that too. But it's also the very first one a lot of people were introduced to.
Yeah.
But then I went back and watched like original Gundam, and after that I was like, okay, cool, I understand it. And so timeline wise, like UT is my favorite timeline. As much as I'm like, I originally didn't understand it, but went through Wing. Then they did was it G Gundam?
Mm-hmm.
Right after that, watched all of G Gundam, and I was like, okay, there's got to be other ones that I've not seen. And as it was with a lot of people back then, you hit YouTube and you're like, Gundam, and you gotta watch like part 1 through 8 of an episode.
Yeah.
So I the next one I ever saw was 8th MS Team, which is like my favorite one.
Right.
And so I watched all of that, and I was like, yep, 8th MS Team was probably after Wing the thing that solidified like I like the themes and stuff of Gundam. Yeah, the mechs are cool, but there's a theme behind it too.
Yeah.
And so did 8th MS Team, and then I can't remember what the next one was. After, I think the next one I saw, the next big one that I saw after that was probably Seed.
Nice.
Which, again, that's a lot of like, people's progression through Gundam. If they watch it, that Seed was probably the next one that they watched.
Yeah, the next big one, yeah.
Yeah, and then like I would tell people about that, and I know outside of Iron Blood Orphans, which I know a lot of people when IBO came out, like a lot of people got introduced to it.
Mm-hmm.
00 was a one that I was like, hey, if you're not into this,
yeah.
I think they were showing it on Sci-Fi. I was like, if you're not into that, like try this one out, because this is one of the ones like they're taking themes from like all of the series and putting them into this one. That's usually the one in IBO I'll try to like tell people to watch if they've never watched before, because I'm like, Gundam Wing is super child soldier like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready for that yet.
Yeah, it is, and like it's bad that I honestly I was like, yo, check out IBO or 00. Like those are two good recommendations for like a baseline to prepare people to go back, to watch older shows. So I think that's a good baseline, So I have another question. This led me to another question. So out of all the Gundam series, what is your favorite suit or Gundam suit or mobile suit, anything? Like if you have a top 1, maybe top 2, what is it, your go-to?
So my top one's going to throw a lot of people off. It's actually Goof Custom, and it's Cousin Norris in 8th MS Team. And you know what scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where he like ran through everybody. And because I know like we used to do lists and ask people like, what suits their favorite, and everybody lists like a Gundam, and I'm like, the on suits were good too, like they didn't suck.
Yeah.
So Goof Custom would be like my number 1. Number 2, and I'm trying not to pick because Freedom's a really good suit.
Hey, if it's your number 2, it's your number 2. Don't worry.
It's not my number 2. My number 2 is actually the Buster.
But I appreciate that. I love all like the strike level suits. I love the designs in Seed. Like people can fight me, but the designs in Seed were so chef's kiss. I loved them. Buster, yeah.
In Breaker 3, the basic part of the suit is Buster. Like the weapons, I use the Buster's weapons.
Yeah.
For the long range. Was it Crossrays? Crossrays, when you get the upgraded Buster that they get in Destiny, like I used that for a really long time. Even though there's other suits that are like stronger than it, I'm like, I want it for the range. That's why I want that suit.
That's like the range bad boy of this suit. Okay, that's pretty dope. And you know what? I give you props on that. So let's hop over a little more some GBO2-esque stuff. So what's your favorite GBO2 suit, Frost?
Up until they released the suit that I was asking for a year and a half, the Gista, I probably would say not. I'm gonna give Emblem a shout out here because he's actually the person that taught me how to use it. Because I used to run in, like, I'd be a raid and I would die. I think we all had this conversation recently in the Discord too. That every suit you kind of have to, they're not played the same. You kind of got to like figure out how it works. And I used to just run in with raids. Not every raid you can do that.
Correct.
There are some you can just run in. The close combat, stuff like that. But Noct was one of those that running in didn't work. You had to like pick your moment. Because they couldn't see you on the radar unless someone physically saw you. You jammed them, and this is prior to like any jamming being introduced into the game, or the Zoc that can see you like on the other side of the map even if you're jammed.
Yeah.
And so I was playing with Emblem one day, and he was like, "Yo, if you just wait and let them pass you." Or you pick a building or something and stay behind it and know that they cannot see you, and then when they get engaged with someone else, then go after them.
Yeah,
you'll get them every time. And it took like 2 matches for me to like completely understand that. And that's also before getting like the Cold Blades 2, when you just had Cold Blades 1 and have the spinning combo, and then like learning to use the kunai and actually throwing them in there like that. And then after doing that one, I was like, okay, I think I can completely understand Pixie now, because it actually has like, you can't see it on radar. And so it's just like a lot of Noct is my favorite, but Noct is pretty much the suit that kind of like got me to understand the game better than I was understanding it.
Gotcha. So Ifrit Not is really dope. I love Ifrit Not. So that next question, what is your favorite role to play in GBO2? Is it raid?
It's not raid. It's actually general.
Oh, okay.
But I have a lot of fun playing raid.
Yeah.
But I also like will play, if we have enough raids but no support, I'll play support. But I would prefer to play general, unless like, it's me, you, and Narek playing, and we're all like, okay, let's play something different. Then I'm like, cool, I'll play whatever. But if it's like how like in Overwatch you pick a role, if they were like you had to pick a role, I'd probably pick general every single time.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's good to know. That's really dope. So that's some dope GBO2 knowledge and some history knowledge here. So I'm gonna go kind of get back to things about you. So I asked Narek this, and I think this question I do like. If you were placed into a Gundam series / timeline, what series would it be and why?
I heard you ask him this, and then I missed his answer. But I was the whole time I'm like, listen, you got to think about how aces and new types and stuff work, because you got to survive. Like, what series are you most likely to survive in? And because I'm like, UC, they use a lot of pilots as like kamikaze pilots, or like, hey, go in there and just be a pilot until you die. We just need some people to like occupy space. But then you look at Seed, and it's like, not everybody's good, but look at the people who made it. And I'm not gonna pick the like, I'll be in the build fighters. That's cheating. Build fighters is cheating. Don't do that. He said IBO, right? I think he said IBO.
Yes. I mean, IBO is a good choice in some cases. In some cases, it's not.
Honestly, I probably would do 00.
Yeah, 00's really cool.
I mean, in terms of like, there's the risk of, there's all the child soldiering that's happening there, and then the risk of like randomly being somewhere and getting like bombarded with you know, the particles. But if you're most of the people that made it in the military, like they didn't suck. Everybody was trained.
Mm-hmm.
So like you saw pilots that were, they weren't aces, but they were in like really good hardware, actually doing stuff.
Yeah.
Until later in the series where like everybody was like Trans Am, and then like you just couldn't do anything at that point. But they were still like, you know, they developed technology to stop like there being weapons, and then you had the shields to stop any physical stuff. And I was like, there was always a counter, so there was like a chance that if you actually like trained and were decent, you were gonna make it. I can't remember his name right now. He survived every single battle, even through the movie. Dude with the red hair, like
Vincent.
Yeah, and I'm like, he made it. So
he got
like,
so lucky. If he made it, we could make it. I get it.
I got a chance.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, he was a trip. But no, that's really dope answer. So, before we close up and stuff here, are there any other games you like to play frequently outside of Gundam Battle Operation 2?
Well, you know this, but so Final Fantasy 14. That is probably the game that takes up more time than anything Gundam. And then Monster Hunter, I think as of yesterday, I crossed over 1,000 hours in Monster Hunter World and Rise combined.
Nice, very nice.
Which I'm just like, I should be better at the game than if I just hit 1,000 hours. I should just be, but like I dip around in like multiple weapons. I'm probably about to start using Hunting Horn.
Love it.
And I mean, FIFA, I play FIFA a lot. I'm getting ready to start FIFA 23 whenever, I think in like a month. It's got a couple weeks because, you know, SD Alliance is coming out, and I'm just waiting for it to, like, you can play this.
So you would say you're a soccer fan?
Yes. So that is probably the only sport I watch. I actually grew up in Germany. So it's like a religion there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The towns I grew up in, like, I remember when we were in Wiesbaden, like, when the World Cup happened, like, everything shut down. We were out of school. Like, and I was like, yo, and then we moved here, and it's like, they said football, and I'm like, yes, what's this brown thing? I don't know what this is.
This is not my football. # not my football.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Oh man, that's wild. So like, what's your favorite soccer team or football team?
As rough as they're having it right now, Chelsea is my favorite team.
Okay.
They're the number one team that I follow, but I will watch Juventus. I will watch. I know this season right now I'm watching Manchester City. Manchester United is having it rough, but Manchester City and Arsenal. Arsenal's game yesterday was insane. Like, it was really good.
That's awesome. So, just knowing, like, you know, you lived in Germany, then you moved over here. That's really dope. Are there like any other interesting facts as a person you like to share, or a gamer, or anything neat, cool?
I used to. This was a while back when like Game Battles and stuff was out. I used to actually play in that. I did Halo 2.
Oh.
I went around. I have some friends that they're big in FGC, and before probably about maybe 10 years ago, like I used to go around with them and actually do like fighting game tournaments and stuff like that. So like Soul Calibur.
Nice.
That's kind of how I got into like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue. Was through that stuff. And then a lot of people don't know this, but I worked for GameStop for like 16 years, so I met a whole bunch of people through that. I still talk to like some other people that would do like the expos and stuff like that, so I still know a lot of those people. And I'm not gonna say, I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
Don't do it. I
still talk to some of them, so like I still get information that it's like, how do you know this? Don't worry about it.
I have my sources. So another thing here before we wrap it up, I just want to say you're awesome. Thank you for being a part of this community. So, just in case, where can people find you on the interwebs, and how can they find you?
So everything is JFrost 1986. I know, and some people probably in Discord are like, who's this person? I'm probably the quietest person in there. But if you ever message me, if you give me a second, I'll message back. Like, I don't mind talking. I'm just probably the quietest person in there. Because usually during the day when I'm at work, or when I'm working, I'm not looking at my phone.
Right.
And when I get off, it's like, deal with family stuff, and then I can finally get on and do something. And if no one said anything to me, then I'm like, I'm gonna do dailies in Gundam, and then do dailies in Final Fantasy, and then when I'm done with that, I'm like, okay, what do I actually want to play now? I don't know yet. And there's been some things that, like, I know I had talked to you about once. I was like, maybe like just community stuff, like one day a week, which again, I thought about it today. I was like, I could do it today. Is just be like, hey, I'm gonna open a versus lobby. Anybody want to get in?
Yeah.
Then just like see what happens.
I see some people actually still playing versus every so often. So if you guys are on the Discord and you want to hit Frost up, feel free to do so. Message him, or there's a versus area too. It's really dope. Do you stream? Do you release YouTube videos? What about those? Where can they find you those?
So I used to stream. I have thought about starting it up again. I stopped when the I think a lot of people I know that stopped streaming on Twitch when all that hate was going around.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was like, I need to take a step back because my son and my brother watch my stream.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't want them in the stream and it happens.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
But I do YouTube. I used to do every day. The last couple of weeks have been like stuff has been going on, so I haven't been doing videos every day.
Yeah.
Once everything settles, then I'll probably go back to doing videos every day. I have been recently wanting to release stuff from other games instead of just Gundam.
Yeah.
But it's more of a confidence on my part. Do I think people would actually watch it?
Right.
And then there is something that I've been wanting to do in GBO that I've kind of looked and no one's done.
Yeah.
Where it's a comparison on how the suit translates to the game versus how it was in the actual show or manga or whatever. Because there are some suits that translate like very well over, and then there's some that it's like you took some liberties.
You did some stuff,
right? Because it doesn't do that. And I'm not saying like I'm not an expert on all the suits. I'm like there's so much UC stuff that, because like Narek knows all about the advance of Z, and I'm like, I know barely anything about it.
I love the idea of, certain people are experts in certain pockets or certain aspects of Gundam. It's really, really neat. So I will have the links to your respective channels in the description, so make sure you guys check that out. Give JFrost some love. He's been around for a hot minute, and he's going to probably be around for a lot longer. JFrost, I appreciate you so much, man. You're one of the people who've supported me, for the longest time with some of this content for GBO2. So I really appreciate having you around, and for you taking the time to let me do this recording in this little spotlight interview. It's really fun, and I just want people to get to know more people around in the community. So I'm gonna get ready to cut it here, but I'll give you the bit of sign off. Everybody who's watching, RedWolfVion, I love you so much. Stay out of trouble, and Frost, take it away.
Well, one, thank you for having me on this. And guys, seriously, in the Discord, if y'all want to talk to me, just send me a message. I will answer it when I look at my phone or get on my computer. And I don't know, just like I say it all the time, keep enjoying the game. Put more light on the game. Maybe they'll give us more stuff. I really want them to do another like Battlefield record game. Those were amazing. We only got like 2. But yeah, keep sharing it, and maybe they'll see it, and we'll get more Gundam. It will be, it'll blow up. And if you do pulls, get the suits you want, because I never do. I always get trash. Well, no, that's so yeah. Just keep enjoying the game, guys. Keep on checking out, everything that's been dropping. If you have friends that play this, tell them to join Discord. I mean, there's people that play every day. If you're in there, I think I have some friends join, and I'm like, just say something. People will play the game with you. Like, you just have to say something. It doesn't have to be me. So, but yeah, just keep enjoying it. Have a good time, and maybe we'll see y'all in matches.
Sounds good. Until then, everybody. Peace.